Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of USMLE-Unlimited, and today I'm going to finish up the discussion about the UWorld, how you should use the UWorld properly. Let's roll the intro. Okay, so here is the discussion that we had yesterday, that what is the interface of the UWorld looks like. Now I'll go into some other questions that I get from my students and many other medical students, how you should properly use the UWorld. So one of the questions I get mostly, that is that how many questions you should do per day. So actually it depends on you and your capability of doing a question, because sometimes you see that the world questions that demands more time, some of the questions demands less time. So it actually depends on you. That means how many hours you are studying, how many time you are dedicating for your study. So it really depends on you. But if you have like a limited time or a time constraint, like if you say, okay, I have 90 days to finish the UWorld, then you can just calculate the amount of question you should do. For step one, there are like 2,500 questions. So in 90 days, if you do like probably 27 or around 30 questions per day, then you can finish this off within the 90 days. So this thing is purely dependent on you, that how many questions you can do, and that really depends on you. All right, so next question that I get is that how to take notes. How to take notes in the world, very important, because what I suggest my students and whoever asking for suggestion from me, everyone's way of study is different. But what I suggest to them that use the UWorld as a learning tool. Is not a tool for assessing your knowledge. It's about building your knowledge. That means by reading the UWorld, you will learn a lot. So you should take notes while you are solving the question, while you were reading the explanation. You should take notes. Now, how to take notes? I think that sometimes my students and my some medical students, they ask me that when I read the URL, I take a lot of notes. A lot mean really a lot. They write down everything. That means they take their first aid, in the blank pages of the first aid, they write down every info they find in the question. That is actually not a good idea, because if you are writing a lot of things from the world and in the explanation, and you are losing your time. So the best is to find out the bullet points. That means the point you think that is important. This thing will actually grow eventually. When you solve the question, eventually you will know which one is more important out of this whole discussions. And I think the more you solve the question, the more you gain this capability of knowing which one is more important. But if you can't find anything important, I think you can write some points from the educational objective that is found under every question of the UWorld. But you'll know eventually which one is important, which one is not. Now, another thing is that you can take flashcards. In the recent UWorld software, there is a chance of flashcard adding. You can add the images and the tables as flashcards. I think you don't need to write down the tables that you can add in the flashcard section, because you can review it in your software. So you don't need to write down anything from the tables that you can add in the flashcards. Next thing is, there's another question that I get is how many times you should do the UWorld. So again, it depends on your time. If you have 3 months, then the best is to do it once, and then if you have time, to try to do one more. But ideally, I would say that if you are using the UWorld properly and you want to use the UWorld properly, you should do it at least 3 times. At least 3 times you will do the UWorld, you know the concepts, you know your knowledge base, then you will be ready for your exam. So how you are going to do the UWorld 3 times? The one thing I suggest my students, that usually my students most of them are international medical grads, so they have more time for preparing for step 1. So like if you have 6 months to prepare for step 1, try to do it once, the first time within the first 3 months. So you can utilize the UWorld within the first 3 months. You can take notes, you can read every explanation by doing about 25 to 27 to 30 questions each day, and within that 3 months you can finish it off the first time. Next time I suggest do it within this span of about 2 months. This time I also suggest to read every single explanation, because this time it will help you solidify your knowledge that you gained during the first go of the UWorld. And on the last time, then you can do it within 1 month or whatever time you may take. But I think you can do it within 1 month, and you can do it in the timed mode to see how well you are performing with your time. So this is kind of a thing that you can utilize the UWorld in this way, and I think it will be helpful for you if you use the UWorld in this way. But sometimes I get this question that, okay, you are saying that utilize the UWorld 3 times, but won't it affect my understanding? Won't it affect my question solving capability? Because sometimes it happens that you know the answer already. Yes, it will happen, but when you do it for the first time, you are just a nascent human who don't know anything. Then when you do it the second time, it will solidify your knowledge. On the third time, you are doing it to test your application and test your timing more precisely. Sometimes it happens that reflexly you can answer some question, but as you are reading the whole explanation thing 2 times, I think that would be enough to retain the information. Next thing is, what are the UWorld self-assessments? These are some tests, that means the assessment test that is offered by UWorld. There are 2 forms of UWorld self-assessments, for step 1 and also for step 2. And I have found in the recent USMLE forums and discussions that they are predicting well, especially the UWorld self-assessment 2 that predicts your score of the main exam well. So these are for like when you are done with your preparation and everything, when you are taking the NBME exams, then you can take this your self-assessments at the same time to see where you are standing and how, if you need to improve or you are ready. Alright, so that's it about the discussion of the UWorld. So if you find this video helpful, please like and share, and I will ask you to consider about subscribing. It would be helpful for me, and please check this channel for the next episodes of USMLE Unlimited. Thank you very much. Goodbye.